Welcome to this guide on how to change your thoughts and mindset to overcome social anxiety. Many people deal with social anxiety in their everyday lives, but that doesn't mean that it has to continue to hold you back. Social anxiety can influence your interactions with others, making you feel afraid or nervous about speaking to strangers or new people, or even people that you interact with every day. It can diminish your self-confidence and make simple tasks, like asking someone on a date, feel like the most terrifying thing in the world. However, there are many ways to overcome this fear and become more comfortable around others. Changing your thoughts and expectations and developing a new and empowering mindset are very important in getting more comfortable in social situations. Your thoughts and imagination can make you feel uncomfortable in social situations, so being in control of your thoughts and changing your expectations will make you more confident and help free you from the discomfort of being in social situations. Changing your thoughts will change your feelings. Your thoughts and emotions are closely linked. One can quickly affect the other. When you're faced with a social situation and you feel anxious about it, your mind will likely start spinning out of control. This can lead to negative self-talk, worsening your feelings and making you feel even more nervous. Maybe you start to think that other people are judging you, that they're all having a great time, and you're the only one feeling out of place. Or maybe you tell yourself that you're not smart enough or interesting enough to talk to anyone. Getting caught in a spiral of negative thoughts is easy when you start to think this way. If you can recognize when these thoughts are happening, you can replace them with more positive ones. That will help you calm down and feel more confident. This is called negative thought neutralization. When you change your thoughts to ones that are more positive, optimistic, and supportive, you'll notice that your feelings about being in social situations also start to change. Instead of thinking about how uncomfortable you feel or how all the eyes in the room are on you, you begin to focus on your strengths and how much you have to offer others. When you feel anxious, it can be easy to criticize yourself and your body. Perhaps you look in the mirror and you judge your outward appearance harshly, or you may criticize your voice, your intelligence, or your decision-making skills. You can become your worst critic and talk to yourself in the most critical way possible. For example, if you're feeling nervous about talking to somebody new, you may start to tell yourself that you sound like a bumbling idiot, that the person will think that you're stupid, or that you're boring. In reality, others are not as harsh to us as we often are to ourselves. If you are talking to a friend in the situation, you will be supportive, kind, and encouraging. You would help them calm down, feel better about themselves, and know that everything will be okay. With your self-talk, imagine that you are talking to a close friend or a loved one in the same situation. That is, talk to yourself like you are a friend. How would you speak to your friend? What would you say? When you imagine yourself as a friend, you might realize that what you are telling yourself is not helpful, and sometimes it's just plain false. Sometimes just imagining yourself as a friend can give you a new perspective and help you realize that you are not being kind to yourself, or that your thoughts and feelings are not accurate. When you're feeling anxious and stressed, it can be easy to get lost in your thoughts and your feelings and forget about all the fantastic things that are in your life. Anytime that you feel anxious, take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for. Perhaps you have a wonderful family, or you have a great job, or you're receiving an education. People rarely think about the good things in their lives, and when they're caught up in their thoughts, they are often too self-absorbed even to consider what they already have. Being grateful can help you calm down and see the situation from a different, more positive perspective. If you're experiencing social anxiety, take a deep breath and think about all the fantastic things in your life that you're grateful for, the bad or negative thoughts will tend to fade away. You can change your thoughts and feelings by focusing on the positives in your life instead of focusing on the fears and the worries that make you feel anxious. Think about the positive things that you have in your life. If you're anxious about a particular situation, it can be helpful to write down your fears and why they are irrational. For example, you may feel nervous about going to a party because you're afraid that no one will talk to you and you will feel left out. You can write down in your journal that being at a party is a normal thing to do, that lots of people don't talk to each other at a party, and that there's likely to be people who are not interested in talking to anyone. Writing down your fears and why they aren't real can help put them into perspective and calm yourself down more easily. It can also be helpful to write your worries in a journal and look back at them later when they bother you again. Usually when you write down your fears, it will make them more clear and you will realize that they're just irrational fears and anxieties that are usually not based on reality. When you write down your worries and then ask yourself, why are they not accurate? You'll begin to see that they aren't based on fact. You might even realize that the things that you fear are entirely unfounded or aren't even as scary as they once were. Everyone feels some level of anxiety at one time or another. It can be a helpful emotion because it alerts you to potential dangers and keeps you out of trouble. However, it can be very destructive when it becomes excessive. If you feel like you're constantly on edge and jumpy, easily irritated by small things, or in a perpetual state of panic, you may be dealing with too much anxiety. When anxious, take a moment to recognize why you feel that way. Perhaps you're at a party and you feel anxious. It may be because you're worried that no one will talk to you. If you're at work and anxious, it may be because you're stressed about a project that is due soon. When you recognize why you are feeling anxious, it can be easier to calm down and focus on solving the problem rather than letting the anxiety take over. You might also feel anxious when you don't even realize it. When you notice that you're feeling anxious but don't know why, try to think about what you are doing or thinking just before those negative thoughts took over. Did you think about a particular person or situation that made you uncomfortable? You may feel anxious about a situation a few times a month, and it's no big deal. However, there are times when you feel so anxious and nervous that you feel like it's taking over your life, and you can't control it. When dealing with an extreme amount of anxiety, it can be helpful to recognize when it's at its worst. For example, if you feel panicky about the possibility of being asked to comment in a meeting, it may be beneficial to set a timer to track how long that lasts. When the timer goes off, you can check how long it lasted, and then use this knowledge to remind yourself that the anxiety will subside eventually. Knowing that your anxiety will eventually disappear, it's easier to calm down and not let it rule your life. When you recognize what makes you feel the most anxious, you can try to avoid those situations when it is possible. It's not always possible. Or try to calm yourself down when you find yourself in a negative thought pattern that can trigger the anxiety. If you commit to taking small actions that build confidence, you can start to help change your thoughts and overcome your anxiety. For example, if you are at a party and you feel nervous about talking to people, commit to going up to one person and introducing yourself. When you want to talk, but you don't know what to say, ask about their day or about their opinion about the weather. Committing to these small actions can help boost your confidence and remind yourself that you can succeed in social situations. When you commit to daily actions that make you feel confident, you'll notice that your social anxiety starts to fade away. This might include things like saying hello to the people that you walk past or taking an interest in the people around you. It may also be helpful to commit to actions that challenge you and make you feel uncomfortable, but in a good way. If you constantly believe that you're not worthy of friendship and love, and that no one could ever honestly like you, you will only intensify those negative thoughts. When you constantly think that making friends is hard, or that no one likes you and that you don't have anything to offer people, those thoughts will only make your social situations harder. Instead, try to focus on the fact that you are worthy of friendship and love, and that people will be lucky to have you in their lives. When you believe that you deserve love and friendship, you start to see yourself in a very different light, and you notice that you have lots to offer others.